Queen Moremi of Ile-Ife, the ultimate sacrifice. Imagine willingly allowing yourself to be captured by your kingdom's worst enemy, spending years as their slave, learning their secrets, and then escaping to lead your people to victory, knowing you would pay a terrible personal price. This is the true story of Queen Moremi of Ile-Ife, and the sacrifice that still echoes through Yoruba history today. Introduction. Queen Moremi's story isn't just history. It's legend, folklore, and spiritual truth all woven together. For the Yoruba people of Nigeria, she represents the ultimate example of courage, sacrifice, and love for one's people. Her story has been passed down through oral tradition for over 1,000 years. While we can't verify every detail with archaeological evidence, the core of her story, and its meaning, has shaped Yoruba culture for generations. Today, we are exploring why Queen Moremi is still celebrated, why her sacrifice matters, and what her story teaches us about leadership and courage. Make sure you're subscribed for more African history and culture. Now, let's meet the queen who gave up everything for her people. Yoruba civilization and Ile-Ife. To understand Moremi's story, you need to understand Ile-Ife. This ancient Yoruba city in southwestern Nigeria is considered the birthplace of Yoruba civilization and, according to Yoruba mythology, the birthplace of humanity itself. The Yoruba are one of Africa's largest ethnic groups, with over 40 million people today across Nigeria, Benin, and Togo, plus millions more in the diaspora throughout the Americas due to the slave trade. Ile-Ife was founded around 500 CE, though Yoruba oral tradition places its origins even earlier. It was a powerful city-state, the spiritual center of Yoruba religion, and home to the Oni, the supreme Yoruba ruler. In the 12th century, when Moremi's story takes place, Ile-Ife was prosperous and powerful. But it faced a terrifying threat that was slowly destroying the kingdom. The Igbo threat. According to tradition, Ile-Ife was being terrorized by mysterious raiders called the Igbo in Yoruba oral history, though these were not the same as the modern Igbo ethnic group of eastern Nigeria. The name simply means forest people in this context. These raiders would attack Ile-Ife at night, seemingly appearing from nowhere. They looked terrifying, covered in raffia palm fronds and strange costumes that made them seem like spirits or monsters. They would kill, kidnap, and disappear back into the forest before dawn. The people of Ile-Ife were terrified. They believed these raiders were supernatural beings, spirits or demons that couldn't be defeated by normal means. Warriors who tried to fight them failed. Weapons seemed useless. The raids continued for years, devastating the kingdom. The Oni and his chiefs held council after council, trying to find a solution. Nothing worked. The kingdom was slowly being destroyed by fear and these mysterious attacks. Moremi's vow. This is where Moremi enters the story. She was a queen, either married to the Oni himself or to a powerful chief named Oramian, depending on which version of the story you hear. Moremi couldn't stand watching her people suffer. While men debated in council chambers, she decided to take action. But she needed help beyond human capability. She went to the Esimirin river, a sacred place for the Yoruba, and made a vow to the river goddess. She promised that if the goddess would help her save Ile-Ife, she would sacrifice her most precious possession in return. The goddess accepted her vow. Moremi now had divine support, but she also had an unpayable debt hanging over her. The plan. Moremi's plan was audacious and terrifying. She would allow herself to be captured during the next raid. Once among the enemy, she would learn their secrets, how they appeared and disappeared, what made them seem invincible, and how they could be defeated. When the next raid came, Moremi deliberately put herself in the path of the raiders. She was captured and taken away, just as she had planned. Can you imagine the courage that took? She had no guarantee the plan would work. She could be killed, enslaved forever, or fail to learn anything useful. But she went anyway, because her people needed her. Once among the Igbo, Moremi used her intelligence and beauty. Different versions say she either married their leader or became his favorite wife. Either way, she gained his trust and access to the raiders' secrets. And here's what she discovered: they weren't spirits at all. They were human warriors who wore elaborate costumes of raffia and grass to terrify their enemies. They knew secret paths through the forest, which is how they appeared and disappeared. Their strength came from fear, not supernatural power. Moremi now knew how to defeat them. But she needed to escape and get this information back to Ile-Ife. The escape and victory. After learning everything she needed, Moremi escaped and returned to Ile-Ife. She went straight to the Oni and the war chiefs and revealed the truth: the raiders were just men in costumes. Armed with this knowledge, the warriors of Ile-Ife prepared. The next time the raiders attacked, the defenders were ready. They used fire, which the raiders' grass costumes were extremely vulnerable to. They blocked the secret forest paths. They fought with confidence instead of fear. The mysterious Igbo were defeated. The raid stopped. Ile-Ife was saved. Moremi became a hero. The people celebrated her courage and intelligence. She had done what their greatest warriors couldn't do: she had saved the kingdom. But now came the hardest part: paying her debt to the river goddess. The terrible price. Moremi had promised to sacrifice her most precious possession. At first, she tried offering gold, jewels, livestock, the kingdom's greatest treasures. But the goddess refused each offering. Finally, Moremi understood the truth. Her most precious possession wasn't material wealth. It was her only son, Prince Olorogbo. Can you imagine that realization? She had saved her people, but the price would be losing the person she loved most in the world. Different versions of the story describe what happened next differently. Some say the river goddess took the boy directly, drowning him in the Esimirin river. Others say he disappeared mysteriously. Some versions say Moremi herself had to perform the sacrifice. However it happened, Moremi lost her son. The celebration of victory turned to mourning. The kingdom had been saved, but at an unbearable cost. Legacy and meaning. Moremi's grief was profound, but she didn't let it destroy her. She continued to serve her people, living the rest of her life as a reminder of what true leadership and sacrifice mean. The Yoruba people have never forgotten her story. Every year, the Edi festival is celebrated in Ile-Ife, commemorating Moremi's courage and sacrifice. It's one of the most important festivals in Yoruba culture, lasting several days with ceremonies, performances, and rituals. In 2016, a massive statue of Queen Moremi was unveiled in Ile-Ife. One of the tallest statues in Africa at 42 feet. It shows her in full royal regalia, a reminder of her enduring significance. But why does this story matter so much to the Yoruba people? Because it teaches fundamental values: that leadership requires sacrifice, that intelligence can defeat brute force, that women can be heroes and saviors, and that protecting your community sometimes demands giving up what you love most. Moremi's story is taught to Yoruba children as a moral lesson. It appears in literature, art, music, and theater throughout Yoruba culture. She represents an ideal of selfless leadership that transcends gender. Historical truth versus legend. Now, is every detail of this story historically accurate? We don't know. Like many ancient oral traditions, the line between history and legend is blurred. But that doesn't make the story less important. Whether Moremi was a real historical figure or a legendary composite, her story has shaped Yoruba's identity for over 1,000 years. The values she represents, courage, intelligence, sacrifice, and love for one's people, are very real. And there's archaeological and historical evidence that Ile-Ife was indeed a powerful kingdom during this period, that there were conflicts with neighboring peoples, and that women held significant status in Yoruba society. So while we can't prove every detail, the core of the story reflects real historical context and real cultural values. Conclusion. Queen Moremi of Ile-Ife gave up everything to save her people. She showed that true leadership means making impossible choices, that intelligence and courage can overcome any enemy, and that sometimes the price of victory is almost too high to bear. Her story has inspired Yoruba people for over a millennium and continues to resonate today. If you want to learn more African legends, histories, and untold stories, subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell. Drop a comment below telling me what other African stories you want to hear. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.